Hello and welcome to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. So much to discuss today. The Olympics have been on and poppin'. We're going to talk about all the dramatic moments. We have New Jersey, we have Orange County, we have the Bachelor stuff. But before we get into it, the time has come. I'm going to tell you where I am right now. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Do you guys remember? My childhood in a nutshell. Where in the world is Morgan Page? I'm in New York City. Well, right now I'm not because I'm recording this on Wednesday, but by the time it graces your lovely little ears, I will be in New York City. You guys might have noticed that this week, and this could have been in the pop 3, but I guess I took it out because I'm going to have more to come. But this week, Carl Radke announced his sober bar. Soft bar and cafe. He said it was a soft launch. Well, your girl has been invited to a tasting for soft bar and cafe. So David and I booked a flight. We're in New York. I don't know if that's how the song goes, but it felt right in the moment. So we're doing that tonight. We're doing a tasting tonight. I'm so excited for it. And then tomorrow we're going to go see Ariana on Broadway in Chicago. Look at us. Look at us out here living our very best life. So of course, I'm going to keep you updated on all of those things. My second little tidbit of information for you is that my lovely husband, David, finally got my online merch shop up and running. So we got some sweatshirts, some t-shirts, some dad hats. So if you want to support your girl in her creator journey, morganptalks.com, get yourself a hoodie. Well, it's not a hoodie. It's a crew neck, but it's very cute, I will say. And if you're a Patreon member, you get 15% off. I already put the discount code in the lie list here if you're subscribed. So, just out here making dreams come true this week. You'll love to see it. Let's get into the pop 3. These are the 3 biggest headlines of reality TV and pop culture. I'm going to save the Olympics for last, okay? Because I know that the Olympics is the story this week, but I'm going to give it its own little moment in the sun. Let's start with Jax Taylor. Jax Taylor is seeking inpatient treatment for mental health struggles. So this came out, I want to say on Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. He wrote this statement to Us Weekly, or somebody on his behalf said, Jax has always been candid about his mental health struggles, especially during the past few months on his podcast. He has made the decision to seek inpatient treatment. This is a particularly sensitive time for him and his family. They ask for privacy and respect until he is ready to speak more on this matter. So he did an Instagram post on Monday, and this was kind of, I don't want to say it was telling, but I guess you could tell the headspace that he was in. He posted this on his story. Be strong to stand alone, smart enough to know when you need help, and brave enough to ask for it. Okay, so there's the crux of it, right? We obviously know that Jax and Brittany are going through this separation. It's been quite some time now. I want to say 6 months or so. I'm not speculating, but I will say Brittany seems to be out here living her life and looking good doing it. She looks like she's happy and having fun and going out with her girlfriends and doing all these things. Now, I know social media can be a lie, so I'm just saying. I don't know if Jax necessarily felt like that was going to be Brittany's reaction to the separation, and maybe that's doing some things to him. They're in the middle of filming season 2. And I want to give Jax the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to, that it's not just for a storyline. Some people will say that it is. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet play out. So I think the difference is that we've seen Jax, over the years, 10 years that he was on reality TV, every single reunion that he got to, he would be like, I'm trying to make myself a better person. I am the best version of myself right in this moment. And so I think for fans, some people are having the little boy who cried wolf reaction to it. I don't want to have that reaction, because I believe in love and light. And I'm hoping that it is true. I haven't listened to their podcast. So if somebody can tell me what he said on the podcast, let a girl know. Let's move over to The Bachelorette. There is a new villain emerging. His name is Sam M, and his family is going off on the internet. So Sam M, he's entering his villain era. He got the first impression rose, and he was a fan favorite. Maybe, can I be honest? He wasn't ever really my cup of tea. It's nothing about like, even what he says, although I'll get into that, just like the way he carries himself, the vibe. I didn't like the vibe. You know, sometimes you can't pinpoint it, but you just get a vibe. And I guess this could technically be a spoiler because their reaction makes it pretty clear that he didn't like end up with Jen, you know, because they're grilling her online. They're like really mad at the edit. So Reddit screenshots show Sam posted a comment to Instagram with an emoji showing smoke and mirrors. Obviously, he's like trying to say they're painting me out to be this person. His sister, Hannah McKinney, said, let's see all the footage. Bachelor ABC, I'm waiting. His other sister, Olivia, said, I'm ready for Bachelor ABC to show all the context they left out. Sam's brother, Seth, said, crazy how they can cut out so much detail to make a person look shallow while making others look like a king. And all this is in reference to his beef with Devin, right? But okay, remember this, making others look like a king, his sister Olivia said, and a queen. So that's kind of throwing shade at Jen. Listen to this. Listen to this. His dad wrote a Facebook status. It was 12 paragraphs long. You know how our parents can get on Facebook. Honestly, sometimes we need an intervention. He ended the status with hashtag I stand with Sam. Hashtag I stand with Sam. I'm going to need somebody to check in on the dad because what? Bro, it is not that serious to start the hashtag I stand with Sam. What is happening here? What is happening here? Here's what else dad said. My son has been a complete wreck due to how the show portrayed him. The spoiler was revealed, and in my opinion, the network had to paint Sam as this horrendous guy in order for Jen not to look like a complete idiot. Now I know why the network offers free counseling for 1 year after the show. So that was before this week, right? They were saying that everything was like frankenbitten and all of these things about his beef with Devin. Well, then we get this week's episode. And yes, you can chalk some of it up to editing. But when you have a full ITM confessional moment, face, camera, lips moving, and you're talking about Devin, they didn't edit it, dude. And yes, you might have had other things that you talked about that your sole existence on the show wasn't to go after Devin, but that's what they're choosing to highlight, right? You had these feelings about Devin. You said these things, maybe not in the particular sequential order that they're showing them in. But for the most part, the sentiment, the root of it, you said it. They had this weird like sit down with just him and Devin because they both got the one-on-ones this week. And like in that moment, dude, we see your face. We see the little bleep blur over your mouth when you're cussing at him. And it's too much. It's too much. And, you know, I saw Reality Steve talk to one of Sam's exes. I don't know if it's the ex, if it's the ex-fiance, but, you know, during these seasons of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, all the exes come out of the woodwork to tell about their horrifying story and their traumatic experience with said contestant. And, you know, she told Reality Steve, per Reality Steve, you know, I could blast him, but I don't want to deal with the family because that's how they act at all times. I could say everything that happened, but I don't want to deal with that. So I don't know. Honestly, though, I'm kind of here for it. I need mess like injected back into my veins after the season of Love Island ended. What? My other unpopular opinion is that I think Jen should let her ex join the show. Join. Bring him in. Let the other guys squeal and run around and their heads start spinning. Like, spice it up. Add a little spice. Let him in. Let him in. That's what I think. Okay, last but certainly not least, Phaedra Parks is returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So Bravo and Phaedra announced that she's returning to season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, made the announcement on Monday. It said, "You called, I answered," which wasn't that similar to what Sheree did? I feel like I have a very, unless I'm making things up, didn't she like do a photo shoot with a telephone up to her ear and it said, "You called, I answered"? So I don't know. Somebody fact check me. But this comes off the heels of Kenya Moore exiting Atlanta over an alleged incident with a new co-star. Whenever Kenya was let go, fans were like, well, now what? Now what's going to happen? Portia came back for season 16. And now we know Phaedra is coming back. Phaedra is a polarizing character in the Housewives universe. She had a great comeback year this year being on The Traitors, and she was phenomenal in that. She was so good. Honestly, one of my favorite reality TV moments of the year was Phaedra being a traitor and doing so well on The Traitors. There are obviously people who see Phaedra and automatically associate her past with Kandi and Portia. If you don't remember, in season 9, Phaedra had instigated a rumor suggesting that Kandi and her husband, Todd Tucker, allegedly harbored intentions of drugging Portia and taking advantage of her. Obviously, Kandi vehemently denied that. It was a whole thing. I mean, if you guys missed that, then you're not Atlanta fans. But I think the door was open for Phaedra because Kandi is no longer on the show. Obviously, that played a huge part in Phaedra coming back. And, I feel like right now, the state of the Housewives is fragile. Look at what's going on in New Jersey. We're going to get into it in a second. We're a year into a full RHONJ reboot. I don't think they want to do a full reboot too with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They've been bringing back in, previous cast members for quite some time now, whether it was Sheree, now it's Portia, now it's Phaedra. Honestly, I think had Phaedra not had such an iconic run on The Traitors, it wouldn't have been her. That's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. That's how I read the situation. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I believe she quit Married to Medicine to come on Atlanta. Don't quote me on that because I'm not positive. But I'm interested to see how it plays out because obviously she's coming in halfway through the season. So I'm interested to see how the story will show Kenya's exit and Phaedra's entrance. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean. Okay, let's deep dive. Let's talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey and Orange County because Orange County is great. Orange County is great. But we are really having some question marks thrown around with the Real Housewives of New Jersey. This last episode, though, was wild. Teresa invites a lawyer over to throw Margaret under the bus for allegedly talking to one or maybe more of Louis' exes. Marge sends a funeral flower arrangement to her door and says, "RIP to your dignity." Everyone is sitting, which was like honestly iconic. Everyone's sitting there talking about Teresa and Margaret, Melissa and Louis and their exes. I want to talk about Joe Benigno because I'm obsessed with this man, Margaret's husband. If I was dying the way John Fuda was dying from that allergic reaction to bone broth, I want y'all to call Joe B. If I ever get arrested, my first call in jail is going to be Joe B. I'm calling Joe Benigno. And I know there's a lot of talk of a full reboot for the Real Housewives of Orange County. And while I understand it, I will be sad because what am I going to do without Joe Benigno in my life? What am I going to do if I don't see Frank Catania Sr. on my television? What are they going to do with the husbands? I don't want to know. I think it's been a defining characteristic of New Jersey, how involved the husbands are. And I know sometimes people get annoyed. They're like, oh, this is women's stuff. This is women's drama. The husband's out of it. No. I don't want to see it go. But it's kind of looking like that's going to be the case. Andy did say this week, he was talking to a caller on Radio Andy, and she was complaining about the show. And he said, we're going to reboot it. We're going to do something different. We're going to see what we do. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe just all fresh faces. maybe just all fresh faces. So just to jog your memory, we have Teresa, Melissa, Jen Aiden, Margaret, Dolores, Danielle, Rachel Fuda, and then Jackie and Jen Fessler, friends of. It's hard because I understand that it is not a healthy environment. Even Teresa did the social media post late last week talking about the rise in toxic culture surrounding New Jersey in particular. She said, I commend her because she had an orange background, not a black background. Black background, white text. It was orange. But she said, I've been on The Real Housewives of New Jersey for the last 14 seasons. And during that time, I have seen and been a part of my fair share of drama with my castmates. What is happening off camera on social media is absolutely disgusting and is fueled by toxic people who are not affiliated with the show. She called out the people stirring up drama as well as people only invested in promoting themselves by spreading their hate through false narratives and lies. Teresa didn't say what her post refers to, but we all think it's about these troll accounts. There have been different stories of different online troll accounts being in contact with housewives, whether it be Teresa or Jen Aiden or Margaret. Those are the three names that I've heard a lot in this little circle of drama. So, Teresa's like, oh, Margaret is messaging these accounts to dig up dirt. Margaret is like, oh, Teresa and Jen Aiden are messaging these accounts to dig up dirt. And it's just created this whole really weird web that just adds a different layer to it. And you know who else I think did it was Lisa Rinna. And what happened to Lisa Rinna? She's no longer with us. I mean, she's still alive, but you know what I mean. But we know it's about to go down in the finale. They don't have a 3-part reunion, sometimes 4-part reunion, which I have to imagine is a huge moneymaker for the network. People love reunions. And when you have New Jersey, who has been on for so long, it's been such an iconic brand to the franchise, not have one part of a reunion, it's over. It's over. And I do think that these shows work the best when they're friends. And we know that they're not friends. I think Summer House went through something pretty similar. When season 5 came around and we got to the reunion and Hannah said, I'm your friend Kyle because they pay me to be your friend. And then we had, the next season where everybody was hating Carl and Lindsay and Danielle was mad and they were all mad at each other. And it's like, it gets to a certain point where, yes, we love drama, but we also love their friendships. And if that isn't happening, then you don't really have roots in the show. You just have people who have made careers out of being on reality television, and they'll do what they need to do to ensure that they have another season. But at the same time, reboots aren't always slam dunks. So I'm really torn about it. RHONJ wasn't my favorite last year. People don't like change. I don't like change. And I think it takes a while for things to take off. I mean, even look at Dubai. People were really excited for it, but it's hard to really get into a show when there's so many other options. I do really like Jen Fessler. I think if they are going to go in a different direction, maybe keep her in like a Rachel Fuda, at least to give people a little bit of familiarity. I feel like Danielle would not be included in that because of the physicality of events that she has, been involved in. Sidebar, did you know that Rachel Fuda is 33 years old? I'm 31. Amanda Batula, I think, is also 33 years old. Isn't that wild? I don't know why I just thought that was wild. But anyways, it's the final countdown. We have the finale on Sunday, and then who knows what's going to happen. R.I.P. The Real Housewives of New Jersey. On the other hand, the Real Housewives of Orange County, I'm loving. There's lots to discuss when it comes to the Real Housewives of Orange County. The first being Alexis and Shannon. Obviously, Alexis is now dating John Jansen, who was formerly dating Shannon, who allegedly broke up with her because he didn't like the limelight and then started dating Alexis Bellino. I'm actually Team Shannon, and I am surprised to hear myself say that because when I watched episode 1, I loved the interaction between the two of them. But, you know, now Alexis is kind of, to me, giving like high school girl, trying to prove to the world that this guy likes me more than you. And this guy is going to be my boyfriend and not your boyfriend. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm just kind of like, ugh. It just kind of gives me the ick, especially over John Jansen. And I think Shannon looks incredible. I know she's going through a hard time, and I hope to God that she's learned from her DUI. Who knows for sure if she has, but she looks phenomenal, and you can't take that away from the gal. You can't. Anyways, Jen is also in a lot of hot water because of her feud with Gina and also some stuff in her private life. Long story short, Gina got Jen into a home. You know, she's a new real estate agent. Jen didn't pay her bills, got evicted. Now Gina thinks, oh, Jen has ruined my credibility in the real estate industry in Orange County. This chick won't even call me back. This broker won't call me back because Jen has ruined my name. I understand where Gina's coming from, but I also think you shouldn't assume that it is 100% because of that reason. It could be a number of things. And if the girl won't take your call, you'll never know for a fact, right? But some fans think that Gina is being a little too harsh on Jen. Others think it's ridiculous that she's 47 years old and got evicted, 47 years old and has never had a credit card in her name. That's wild to me. It's a PSA to us all. Like, don't operate your relationship like that. I mean, I feel like we see it a lot on Housewives where whether it's Erica Jane or now Jen, where they're like, oh, my husband handled all the financials. I never knew anything. And like, I get it because the financials are a bore. And like David handles the majority of it, but like I still have my own credit card in my own name. I still pay it off. I still contribute to the joint savings account. You know, like you got to be involved at least in a little bit, at least know what's going on, be aware of your surroundings. And the bad part about this is for Jen right now in the season, like Ryan, her boyfriend, seems like her savior, you know, in this instance. And it's sad because we now know he is in a legal mess. And if you don't know, they're now engaged, right? In May, ESPN reported that Ryan was implicated in a $15 million gambling and theft scandal. It involves the LA Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, an interpreter, and a massive amount of gambling debt. So Shohei had an interpreter, and this interpreter engaged with an illegal bookmaker and reportedly wired money from the baseball player's bank account to pay off illegal gambling debts. And allegedly, Ryan was the middleman. So Ryan was the middleman working with the bookmaker who received the payments. And even in this episode, people are sitting there saying like, what if something goes wrong with Ryan? And now here we are. Something has gone wrong with Ryan. We see the way that the cards fell with her first husband and how it sent her like into a spiral. And now it's another spiral. Vicky comes back, I believe, this episode. You know, she's got a huge falling out with Tamra. Tamra also no longer talks to Shannon, Trace Amiga stuff, so I'm sure there'll be more to talk about there. But let's move into final thoughts, the Olympics. The Olympics are serving. I love it. I love an Olympic summer. You know, this is the first year that I'm really super into Olympics. I don't even remember the Tokyo Olympics. I'm pretty sure I suppressed every COVID memory from my mind because it was that traumatic for me in my life. And it was all just a blur, wasn't it? Like looking back to COVID, it was just a blur. So I don't remember Tokyo at all. I barely even remember Simone withdrawing from the Tokyo Games because she had a case of the twisties. And isn't it funny how now we're all experts like, oh, she had a case of the twisties. That's when a gymnast, their body and their mind aren't on the same page and she doesn't know where she's going to land. She could snap her neck. And now we're all experts in gymnastics and how they score and swimming and the breaststroke and the freestyle and what are the differences. Every single person that I've seen online that posts something to their story, it's like they're watching the gymnastics, the girl lands, and they're like, nailed it. Every single one of us. Even my husband and I were watching the women's all around yesterday, and Suni Lee was on the bar. She popped off, and he was like, nailed it. It's like you have to say nailed it when they land 2 feet on the ground. We're all insane. But anyways, two major moments that I want to talk about. There was a major shade between the women's U.S. gymnastics team and MyKayla Skinner, specifically Simone Biles and MyKayla Skinner, but MyKayla definitely started this fire first. Here's what happened. MyKayla is a former gymnast, okay? She was the 2020 Olympic vault silver medalist. She competed as an individual, and she was an alternate for the 2016 Olympic team. She did this YouTube video where she was criticizing the Olympic team. Of course, it's now been deleted, but she said, besides Simone, I feel like the talent and the depth just isn't like what it used to be. Just notice, I mean, obviously a lot of girls don't work as hard. The girls don't have the work ethic. Then she says coaches can't get on athletes and they have to be really careful of what they say. Outrage ensued. People were so mad at her for saying this. And she did later come out with an apology. She said a lot of the stuff she talked about in the YouTube video wasn't necessarily about the current team. She said, because I love and support all the girls that made it and I'm proud of them. She says, I was talking about the girls at my own gym. And the girls at her own gym were like, huh? Right? Well, Simone Biles, the clapback of all clapbacks, she posted a photo of the team winning gold and captioned it, lack of talent, lazy, Olympic champions. That's a clapback, ladies and gentlemen. That's a PSA to us all. Sometimes you just got to sit back and let the universe, let them run their mouths, because you know what? You're going to win the Olympic gold medal at the end of it. I mean, we're not winning Olympic gold medals, but you get it. You get the metaphor, right? And I'm pretty sure that girl blocked Simone Biles. We love Simone. We love the U.S. women's team. We also love the U.S. men's team. Everyone's talking about our new daddy, Steven. I have no idea how to say his last name. Netarosik. Beats me. Steven Netarosik is on the men's gymnastics team, but he's an event specialist, meaning he only performs one event. That is the pommel horse. Who knew what a pommel horse was before 3 days ago? Raise your hand. I did not. Anyways, the whole day Steven was kicking it. He was laid back. He was relaxing. He was taking naps. He was hyping his team up. He had his glasses on. He was chilling in his little sweatsuit, zipped up. But then he goes to compete, right? And it's all up to him. It's all up to him. He has to nail it for the U.S. to win a bronze medal. He took his glasses off. He smized at the camera a little bit, and then he got on that pommel horse and he nailed it. He was like a real life Spider-Man. He was spinning around, squirting webs everywhere. He was flawless. He was riding that pommel horse like no tomorrow. And then he pops off. They're raging because they know he crushed it. Steven crushed it. It was all on his shoulders. He scored a 14.866, secured the medal. Secured the medal. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, you're like, what is this girl on? Anyways, bronze medal for the U.S. men's gymnastics team. It was the first time the American men medaled in the team final since 2008, and it all goes to our new daddy, Steven Netarosik. Honestly, if you had to tell me, Morgan, pick one person to have on your podcast right now, I'm getting Daddy Steven on the phone immediately. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of MPT. Please leave a review. It's been a million weeks since somebody left a review. A little 5 stars, a little boop boop, a little love you like assist. Don't forget, if you want Love You Like Assist merch, it is now available on morganptops.com. If you want a gift card, not a gift card, a promo code, because that's what we do in 2024. Sign up to the Lilas Patreon tier because you get all the good stuff if you're a Lilas girly. If not, I'll see you back next week on Thursday for another episode of MPT. Love you like a sis. Bye.